Let's be honest, not everything in the healing world is actually healing. You may leave behind a system that labeled you, but did you walk straight into a new one that sells spiritual shortcuts? If you ever felt like the healing path got hijacked by ego, performance, or profit, you are not alone. This video is about empowerment, sovereignty, and freedom. Hi friends, my name is Anneke Sips, therapist, writer, mother, and founder of The Original Medicines. My mission is to bring trauma-informed, embodied, and spiritually aware approaches back to the center of mental health and healing. I believe that your sensitivity is not a disorder, but it's a form of deep perception. And your symptoms, they are not malfunctions, they're actually messengers. Well, let's take a breath together. Just inhale, maybe hold the breath there for just a moment without any effort. And then long exhale and begin. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge the good intentions of everyone involved in creating recovery spaces for mental health. I've seen how people in the regular care system deeply and tirelessly work to help those in need. My intention here is not to offend or attack, but to offer a clear and honest reflections of my personal observations, insights that took me so many years to find the words for. And I believe it's essential to talk about what is not working without forgetting the effort and heart that many professionals bring. Working in clinical psychiatry for many years, especially on crisis wards, exposed me to the harsh realities of the system. From early on, I noticed that many of the people I worked with were highly sensitive individuals, often diagnosed with various labels, from autism to bipolar, ADHD, complex trauma, and dissociative disorders. And what became increasingly clear was that trauma, deep, often unspoken trauma, lay at the heart of so many struggles, but it was rarely named. And worse, it was often intensified by the very systems meant to help. I saw how being admitted to a psychiatric hospital would itself be a traumatizing experience. The lights, the control, the labels, the lack of autonomy. I remember aggression being part of the daily work. My hair pulled, my belly kicked. I often felt scared, to be honest. And yes, I had a training. Yes, I had an alarm system with me, but that sense of safety, it was never really lasting. So numbness became a survival tool for all of us, is what I think. I saw it in my colleagues and I felt it within myself. We had to show up, we had to stay calm, we had to keep moving, but inside, disconnection, exhaustion. And over time, I realized I didn't want to normalize that numbness. I didn't want to carry it forward. So I began speaking, even when the words felt raw and unfinished, because the sensitive ones will always pick up what isn't said. And I come to believe that sometimes the most powerful thing that we can do, especially in mental health, is to be just a little bit more vulnerable. Not reckless, but open. It's what creates connection. It's actually what allows us to feel again and to guide others towards safety without control. It's not that easy though. But it was through this shift that I discovered something essential. Healing isn't a one-way street. Healing is relational. It requires us to show up as humans, not experts, to attune with care, and to know when to protect and when to soften. This sensitivity, this listening with all the senses, is what we're not taught. But in my belief, it's everything. And when I stepped away from institutional psychiatry and became a community psychiatric nurse, everything changed. Moving from the clinics to the neighborhoods, from patients to clients, allowed me finally follow the holistic path that had long been calling me. And then I met Selena. It's not her real name, but named after the goddess of the moon. She became a guiding light. Our work together wasn't clinical, but it was intuitive, quiet. It was brave and human. She asked for support, and by answering her, I unknowingly stepped into the work that I was always meant to do, a path I'm still walking now. And that path, it's personal, it's spiritual, it's grounded, and it's layered with everything I've learned, from trauma theory to yoga to ancestral wisdom and nervous system repair. But I want to be honest about this too. It's not just a psychiatric system that's broken, in my opinion. We also need to look at the distortions in spiritual and holistic spaces, because not everything labeled as healing is truly rooted in integrity. The ancient practices, the medicines of breath, mantra, ritual, nature, plant medicine, often have been looted or stripped of their depth. We're told healing should be quick, effortless, and easy to share on social media. But healing doesn't perform. It dissolves, it humbles, and it deepens. And when we bypass the pain and the shadow work, we're not healing, we're actually avoiding. Especially in spiritual circles, I've seen how some people rush in to diagnose everything as trauma or block or ego, and others pretend they've transcended their human struggles entirely. This bypassing, I believe, is dangerous, especially for those in crisis, grief, or deep transformation. Instead of offering containment, it can leave people floating or even more alone. This is why I turn to certain wisdom traditions, but also keep searching myself and keep the practices alive. For example, what I find in Taoism, yoga. They offer something different, but I don't believe it's a shortcut. It's not something that I have to follow blindly, but it's a quiet depth, a practice, it's a study. It's all about relationship, a relationship with mystery. And it's not about being the master or mastery. Not everything needs to be explained, but some things must be experienced. So this is why I love the practices of yoga, or the practices that are communicated through many of years in Taoism and other wisdom traditions. So much more about these wisdom traditions in this YouTube channel. So feel free to hit the subscribe button to stay updated, because my work is about integrating the sacred and the scientific, bridging somatics with spirituality, building nervous system stability without bypassing, supporting people to find their own medicine, the one they were born with. So we do not need 1,000 modalities. We need practice that brings us back to presence, breath, ground, community, and listening, and the courage to feel without labeling it as a failure. So again, if this resonates with you, you are not alone. So maybe you're a therapist, a healer, or someone walking through your own process. Maybe you're unlearning what you were taught. Maybe remembering what your body always knew. This space here is for you. Welcome to the Original Medicines, and let's keep walking together. If you like this video, much more is coming. Subscribe to this channel and let's stay connected.